So, hello. Right, so I want to show you a very kind comment that was made by M. Wakelin. As you remember, a couple of weeks ago I did a product review on a wooden desktop organizer, and he made the response, I've got a similar product by the same manufacturer. Frankly, I think it's cheap, flimsy, poorly designed Chinese rubbish. Having parts held together by one edge of a screw is horrible. He then puts a link and he says it's only slightly more expensive but great quality. I have a few of the EBMA paint storage units. Hobbies.co.uk also do similar stuff, which looks good, although I've never tried their stuff. So this is the hobby rack as you see in use. And I've got to be honest with you, I don't put it through heavy use. I don't chuck heavy stuff in, but it really does serve my purpose really well. However, there is one thing. I found myself in need of some pliers, and I thought, well, is that really up to the job of pliers? So I went back to that link and I thought, well, it won't hurt to have a look. So I went onto their website and I looked at some of the stuff they've got, and I've seen similar stuff before, but as you do, you kind of have a look around, and I had a look in the tools section, and there was one thing that really caught my eye, and it's only £20, and that's this tool stand, which looks pretty neat. Try and find one with storage in it. There we go. So it looks like it's slightly customizable, as you can see from these three photos. You can put bits and bobs in. There's a little rack there for pliers. It was the pliers that really caught my eye, and also the reviews. It's got 6 reviews with an average of 5-star. Bought this unit first, very easy to put together, a great product. Although it looks complicated when opening the box, blah blah, all really good reviews, so I bought it. So this is my package. I ordered it approximately 5 or 6 days ago. It came by Hermes couriers. The packaging was absolutely amazing. I didn't show the packaging because I just knew it was a parcel for me, and obviously I didn't know what it was. But it's like playing past the parcel. There was about 3 layers of really good quality brown paper, and let me show you some of it. This is some of the paper from the inside, and then this is the outer wrapping. You can see that it's all really thick, and there was another layer as well, which unfortunately I've now put in the bin, and there's a really clear, let me just bear with me, a really clear invoice that you get. So I'm really happy with the packaging. So it really didn't matter how badly the courier treated it. It wasn't, I don't think it was going to get damaged, but it did take about six days to arrive, and I think a lot of that was to do with the courier more than the shop. So we have a box full of bits, and this is absolutely chock-a-block full of bits, and I can smell that they're laser cut. You get this terrible burning wood smell. Now it says the instructions step by step to the design can be found on the website. Navigate to the unit's product page, and underneath the images there will be 3 tabs. Click on the documentation tab and the link to the instructions will be displayed. Now before I opened this, I did notice there were instructions, so I did download them just in case they didn't supply it with the product. And they are colour instructions, but I'm a little bit stingy and I printed these in black and white. And as you can see, look, there's really clear instructions. It's a bit like doing a part work where they take a photograph of each stage. There are 7 pages of instructions. The main shell is put together in 10 stages. The plier support is done in 2, brush base in 2, multi-storage is done in 4 stages, and then each of the drawers is done in 4. So at the time of filming, I don't know if I'm going to do this in 1 stage or 2 or even 3. There is gluing to be involved, which you see I've got a spare part of. I'm going to call this wood glue. This is part experiment. A carpenter once said to me, "Why do you buy expensive wood glue for wood?" And I said, "Because I want my wood to stick." And he says, "No, just use a good PVA glue." Apparently it's the same. That didn't come from me, that came from a carpenter. So for this particular build I'm going to use PVA glue. So let's begin. So obviously I have a box of bits, so I'm going to be sorting things out. Now it says position the 3mm magnets into the side panels and the 6mm magnets into the base. That's quite interesting. So let's pull out all of the bits, and I'll try and keep the box intact so that I can put bits that I'm not using back in the box if I feel I need to. So basically we have a jumble of bits, which I suppose the obvious answer is to switch my camera off, sort all of my bits out, and then bring them in as I need them. But you know I'm not going to do that. So I don't see any magnets, so are they supposed to come with it? I don't know. We will find out as we progress. I'm going to be very careful, and I'm going to place all the bits either on my work table here or in the box, and there's the magnets. So it does come with the magnets, and I don't need to measure those. I can tell the difference between 3mm and 6mm there. So they will go. Do you know what? I'm going to clip those on my video stand. So right, so I know I'm not going to need any smaller bits just yet. So all these small bits I'm going to put back in the box. They're not going to go in as neatly as they came out, I'm afraid, but they're not going to be scruffily tidy. So we want to look at something that resembles. Oh, there's a bit of cardboard there. That confused me then because that bent. So let's have a look at something that resembles a base. And excuse me, I've got a tickle in my throat now. Right, so I think this is the base, and there's 2 reasons I say that. One is it's a really thick piece of wood. If you look at the other pieces of wood, they're a lot thinner, which means that this is a nice, strong, sturdy base. It's also got the logo on it, which the others don't seem to have a logo on. You can see the scorch marks from the laser cutting, and we haven't got smell-o-vision, but honestly they do smell of burning wood. But I notice also there's 2 holes there. So this is locate the intermediate supports into the base. There are L-shaped pieces without the small magnet holes in them. No glue is required for this step. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is making each stage, finding the parts I need for the next stage, and then cut the camera, find the parts, then run the camera again, do that stage. So there will be lots of fading in, fading out. However, I think I have just found them, but I got a bit of a semi-emergency because I've just dropped a part on the floor. There we go. So I think these are the intermediate supports. I'm not 100% sure because, as you can see from there, we've got a front view, whereas these I need to really look at the side view. We'll see if there's anything. I think these are definitely them because there's going to be drawers going in. But I think I will cut the camera in between stages. So look at that. That's perfect. I think that's definitely it, isn't it? So this is the first stage complete, and it says there's no glue required for this step, and there are. I think these are not the correct pieces. Let me just check. Yeah, so it does clearly state on the instructions these are L-shaped pieces without the small magnet holes in them. So I think these are the wrong pieces. Maybe these are going on the outside, I don't know. So let's see if we've got any more L-shaped pieces. Oh, there, right. I found one L-shaped piece, and that seems to fit fine. So please forgive me while I look for the second L-shaped piece. And you would think an L-shaped piece would be quite easy to find, because it's not like it's the same shape as anything else. So there we are. So I think that's the second L-shaped piece. So I'm up to step 2, and I'm struggling already. How bad is that? So step 3 is glue the rear into the base. Now I have 2 rears, what looks like they could be rears, but I think it's this piece. And the reason I think it's this piece is I can see on the instructions there's 3 little dashes there, and you've got 2 indentations on the sides there. So this has 3 lines, 2 indentations, and obviously where this goes, I think that's going to line up there. So let's do a dry fit as we always do. And I've got to be honest with you, I am having quite a lot of fun right now. So it's a tough fit. So what I'm going to do then is, I've done the dry fit. I'm going to apply glue along all the inside edges there, not the outside, and then I will apply glue on the bottoms of these tabs and in between. No, just along the bottom there. So just working out where they're going to fit. So glue along there. Don't need an awful lot of glue, but you do need enough glue to make contact with both sides. So if there's a gap of 1/10 of a millimetre, you need a minimum of 1/10 of a millimetre thick on the glue. One advantage we have with this glue is that it dries clear, so if you do get a tiny spill and it looks white and ugly, we don't need to worry too much about it because it will dry clear. So applying the glue just on the inside edges there, and then on the insides there. Probably would be better with a brush here, but I don't know if I have a brush handy, and cocktail stick is more precision work. Brush is fairly precise, but it's pretty much slapping it on. And I did notice somewhere in the instructions it said what to do in between the glue. So we'll try and find that up in a bit. So you can see the thickness of the base by the size of the cutouts there. So it's a really nice, strong, heavy, sturdy base. So I am liking these already. So who knows, maybe my old storage unit might become redundant just purely because I found something better. Saying that, I'm not unhappy with the last one. You know, it does its job really well. I have a drawer that I don't use very often. That, you know, I put things that I use less frequently in the drawers, because obviously I do want to access it. If I'm accessing something more often, then I want it out in the open, don't I? Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this kind of the wrong way round, and then the weight of it can just help push it down a little bit. I'm just going to do a little bit of clean up along there. There is a little bit of ooze, not enough to actually worry, and I don't think we'll see that when it's finished. So it says on the instructions, while parts are drying, it can be handy to hold them in place with masking tape, which funnily enough is an idea that I had already. This can be used to help keep gaps closed. In this particular part, I don't think we're going to need it. I think the weight of this is going to hold it itself. However, I don't think I'm going to be able to do anything with that today. So what I will do is I will let's go to the, shall we do bits, extra bits? So we'll do the brush base next. So in fact, I'm going to cut the camera, I'm going to find the parts, and then we'll do the brush base. So for the brush base, we're going to need 5 pieces. Let me just pop that out. And what we're going to do, I'll do a dry fit and then we'll glue it. So first of all, we need to create 2 bits going across. This is going to be a crisscross, and these parts are going to fit together. See how they'll go like that. But what we need is we need 2 holes going upwards and 2 coming down, but we also need the tabs. So we can't make all of these bits, because then when we come to put this bit in, or we even put it in this way, you see it will go, but the tab will be upright. So we need to separate these. You see that we want lines up, we want the tabs up on one and the tabs down on another. And for the dry fit, we'll just put those 2 across there like that. This is the tabs down, and then these ones we will put those across there, and they will also see that they will slot into those holes there, and that will be your brush base. So let's get this glued up. In fact, actually I might, how would I glue this? What would be the best way? Right, let's begin with placing the bases on, which are these 2. This is nice and simple, and all I need to do is just place glue along there, like so. This is quite a porous wood, so this glue will soak into this bit, and that will stick there. So let's pop the other one. We've got plenty of this is good and bad, because we've got plenty of working time, because this glue isn't a fast setting glue, which is perhaps why you might perhaps want to use a more expensive glue. Because I'm using PVA, I would probably leave this overnight, which in itself isn't a bad thing. Right, so they're in. So I think I will glue along these 2, all along this line there, and then I'll just pop a little line along there. Just really where 2 bits of wood are going to make contact, that's where I want to apply the glue. So just along that line there. This may not be the neatest professional job in the world, but I'm not a neat professional. I bought this to do a job, and I think it will do the job really well. I probably didn't need to go all the way to the top. These are quite a good fit, they're precision cut, so where this is probably going to be quite a tight fit, it'll probably push the glue up anyway. So Having said that, if it pushes the glue up, we can always wipe it with our finger. And I don't think this is going to need clamping because they're all pushing against each other. But what I will do is when I fix this, I will turn it upside down. I'll put a heavy weight on the top, and then that will push everything down to make sure it's secure. So you see, this time around I've learnt my lesson and I've not gone all the way to the top. It's just so that when you push this piece into place, it's going to push that glue up. I'll probably still put too much glue on. We'll see in a moment, won't we? So this piece is going to go into there like that. Yeah, that'll still put too much glue on. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'll turn it upside down, and then I will place a heavy weight on it. So maybe I can use it as a cup holder. Okay, so that's the brush base actually finished. So the multi-tool storage, it looks like I can't actually do that because it needs to be attached to the base, which is still drying. So I will work on the drawers next, and that, I think that's all I'm going to be able to do in this part. So the drawers, let me pause the camera, I'll get the parts ready and then we'll crack on with it. Okay, so to make the drawers, we have 3 of these. These are the base of the drawers, and as you can see, they're going to go into there like so. And what I've noticed about these is it doesn't matter which way round they go, they work equally well. So we need a total of 3 of these, 1 for each drawer. We then have the sides, and again, just like the bases, these sides are absolutely identical, and we need 2 sides for each drawer, so we need 6 in total. And then for the front and the back, there is a separate front and back. We have this piece, which is the back, and then we have this piece with a hole in it, which is the front. And there should also be somewhere, which I haven't got out. There we are. We've got some little handles, and these come in like a little, should we call this a wooden sprue? So to finish the job off, we'll pop that in there, and that makes a cute little handle. So let's have a dry fit. It says to glue on the rear first, and I think that's actually a really sensible idea. The reason I think it's a sensible idea is if we put the side on, you see it's made that little hole there, and then we've got to somehow manipulate this in so that we can wedge that in. Whereas if we put the rear on first, it's going to be much easier to get that back on. So and we might actually need masking tape for this, but I think that once we've got all of these in, I think they will hold themselves together. So let's get 2 sides, 1 rear, 1 front, 1 handle, and let's look at how we want to glue these in place. So I will put 3 little lines of glue along there. And I think that will be enough just for the rear, because we'll add the glue onto there once we put the sides on, and the sides are actually coming next. So we'll do a dry fit with both sides, because we might need to swap them around, and I can feel how this is becoming rather rigid just even with a dry fit. So I want to place glue along these 4 bits there. Why is it not asking us to put the front in next? I don't know. And then I'm going to put glue along this bit there and a little bit along there, and I think that will be plenty of contact. So I've just realised I'm keeping very silent while I do this. Right, so that's really going in really nicely. That's actually holding its shape really well because of how precisely the parts are cut. So we now need to try and dry fit this front, and this is going to present us with a problem that we said we'd have if we put the sides in first. So I'm just going to put glue along those 3 bits there, and then a little bit along that edge there, and then a little bit there and a little bit there, and that should hopefully stick that in. And then I will, working as quickly as I can but not rushing, I will then just pop a little bit of masking tape on each of the corners just to try and hold it together. I've got to remember how these fit together now. A little dab there, a little dab there, and I think these dark corners here. So as you can see, there's a lot more work involved than the previous one that I had, but I think we're going to get a much better finish, and I think this is actually rather well thought out as well. So I'm having to manipulate and move these parts around. This one's fallen off, as you can see, because although it's a good fit, it's just not quite enough while the glue is drying. So I will finish this off with I think I'll use 2 large bits of masking tape actually. I was going to put 1 in each corner, but I think if I do, in fact I might even just use 1. You might argue it's wasteful, but I wouldn't want that to slip at all. So whoops, you see it is coming off if you pull it in the wrong place. And I'll just overlap that. Masking tape, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but it's not overly expensive. So right, and do you know what, I'm actually going to go over the bottom as well, just where that glue is, and I want to pull it in at the bottom where it's not going to warp so much. If you pull the tops in, it could bow in the middle, and I'm really pulling this masking tape quite tight and overlapping it. I really don't want that to move. In fact, I probably should have done this on the bottom in the first place. So that obviously means I'm not going to be able to put the handle in because I've now covered the hole up, but I think that that's now been held tightly enough that it will hold. So I'm going to just pop, no, I'm going to pop the handle just in the drawer. So what I'll do now is I will make the other 2 drawers, but you don't need to see me do them 3 times, do you? So I will speed them up. Okay, so it has stiffened up a lot in the time it's taken me to do the drawers, and those of you that are quite eagle-eyed will see that I did have it the wrong way around when I put the drawers in. So these drawers are a perfect fit. So I'm going to let that dry overnight, so I will continue this as a part 2 which will come out next week. I've had a look at the rest of the instructions, and I can see that as we put more together, it will strengthen it all up even more. So for example, this piece is going in next, and it will go in like that, and with it sitting on there, see how that's just come out. So with it sitting on there and going into there, it will add more strength. And these boards, they're quite strong anyway. So what I'll do is I will take this time just to show you the actual website of the manufacturers, so we can see more of their range. And I can see this actually building up to quite a nice little collection. So this is just their 215mm depth range. So all of this is modular, and as you can see, it comes in pieces that can all go together. So we have there a corner storage and display unit. We have just a display unit there. So I could see that being quite useful. They've got a tank there, but obviously you can, if you're working on a model in between stages, you can just pop your bits up there. £14, I think that's quite good value for money. You've got a 3-drawer unit there for Humbrol enamel paints. You've got another one there for, it looks like bottles. There's another one there for enamel tins. I'll call them Humbrols. You've got one there for the same size, and lots of different storage. There you've got one very good use for Model Air Vallejo range, which is the range that I use the most. So that's extremely useful. So you can see lots of different, you can work this around corners. There's 3 pages of it, well, 2 pages and 2. There's one there for rod, tube and wire storage. If you're into model railways, you've got one there for displaying model railways. And this has actually got, you see there, it's got track burnt into the actual wood, so that actually lines up properly. And I can see that being quite useful. So if you work on model railways, you know, you've got somewhere to put things while you're working on them. You've got plain shelves there. This is the tool stand that I've got. You've got another corner unit there. You've got 4 drawers, 9 drawers, 6 drawers, 4 half-width drawers. It just goes on. And this is only the 215mm depth. You've got the 700, which is no products. You've got bits here that are purely for model railways. So there's a nice one there. You can place things on its side to work on it. This is called a weathering stand. So you've got here paint storage. Some of this you would have seen, but you've got some nice little storage. So I could actually see myself over time spending, see what tools we've got. So we've got an aircraft paint stand there, an AFV paint stand. Is that something to do with armour? Aircraft paint stand, bottle stand, a hand rest, that could be quite useful. I wonder if they have anything for ships. And then they have all the instructions here, and they have a list of their shows and exhibitions. So there is one coming up in Wigan, I can see, and another one coming up at Telford. I don't know if they are going to go ahead because of Corona, but as you can see, this is, I'm really glad to the guy who recommended this to me. So that's it for stage 1. It is quite a it's not so much complex as you need to wait for glue to dry. I think once we've got this main bit in, which I might just have to pop a little, well actually this one stuck quite well, but yeah, I'm going to leave this overnight and let it really set. But once we've got this base in, obviously we'll still glue parts in, but I think we won't need to wait so much. So at this point of recording, I'm quite confident that we can do this in 2 stages. Obviously by the time I've done the second stage, I'll already know. But anyway, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you next week.